I don't know why my computer is the connection. Hopefully that's better. I don't know why my connection. Alright, let's do this live stream today. For some reason I can't. Oh, there it goes. For some reason my chat wasn't pulling up. Alright, comment below a neighborhood. Message. All right, wait here for like 2 minutes, see if some people join today on this live stream. All right, first thing I'm gonna be talking about until someone joins is the mosaic, which I feel like every live stream I've talked about the mosaic, but now things are starting to roll over there, so we'll talk about that because I got some emails over the weekend from some builders. Okay, why is it doing this? Why are we doing this? Okay, let me try it. Okay, hopefully that stays. Keeps glitching. My monitor doesn't want to stay connected. So the first thing we'll talk about is mosaic tradition homes. And then I'll just wait for people to join in, see if anyone has any other questions, comments about some of the other builders or anything in general. You know, just a typical live stream. Nothing new here. We'll wait one more minute. This might be a slow one today. We've got 0 people watching, so shout out. Oh, we got 1 person watching. Hopefully you guys are getting my live stream notifications. I feel like some people have left comments and they're like, we don't get the live stream notifications. And some other people are like, we get the live stream notifications. So I don't know what's going on with that, but try to start this at like 11:40, 12 p.m. every day. I felt a little off today because I woke up and I was like, what is going on outside? I was like, it's so bright. It's like 6, and then we fell back in time with daylight saving. I completely forgot. I mean, I didn't completely forget because like I was talking about it with my parents like the previous day, but I just woke up this morning, I just felt off. And like I still feel off because the sun just isn't where it should be right now, you know? But whatever, we'll get used to it. The time on the clock in my car is now the correct time because it has like now when I have like my Apple CarPlay, it'll like do the right time because it connects to my iPhone, and the iPhone just automatically switches. But like my car, you have to manually change it, and I have just for 6 months have just procrastinated changing it because 2 months, like when we sprang forward, I was like, yeah, I could change it right now, but then I went like another month and I didn't change it, and then like 2 months, and then I was like, nah, I'll just wait. And so now my car finally shows the right time on it. All right, let's just jump into this. Hopefully some people come back and watch this later on, or maybe some people will jump in. It's a pretty nice day outside, so maybe people are enjoying stuff with the family today. It's actually not like crappy weather like last weekend where it was super cold. We're back up to like, what's the weather? Yeah, we're back up in the, we're gonna be back up in the 80s, so that makes sense. Oh, we got one question. Hit me with it. This is a good start. We're 5 minutes in. We got a question coming. What's up? What's the question? After I answer this question, I'll jump over into tradition homes like I was saying, because I do want to talk about that and show you guys some of the floor plans, because that's been released for the Mosaic over in Salina. Alright, we got 4 viewers right now. Things are looking good. Okay, is it okay? Is it okay to buy a home if there are power lines of 138, 200 feet away? What are you buying in a neighborhood around Frisco, Salina, Dallas? Like what neighborhood exactly? Because it always depends on the power lines. Because like how I see the power lines is like you could just have simple power lines behind, you know, the wood, just like the wood. Correct, Salina. Okay. So, and I'm guessing you're looking at maybe the parks at Wilson Creek, or maybe Cross Creek Meadows, or maybe Wilson Creek. You looking at Wilson Creek Pulte homes? I'm just guessing here. Liliana. Okay, those power lines over there. Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to like just those standard power lines, it's okay. It depends on like. Okay, yeah, parallel to Coit Road. So, like how I view the power line is that, let's say that you have a lot in the backyard, right? Like, cause you'll have your backyard and no one will be behind you, and then there'll be that sidewalk, and then there's like Coit Road there, and then on the opposite side of that is a power line. Like, I think that's fine. That's not a big deal. I think the ones that are running through there, I mean, are they wood power lines, or are they the big steel ones? Because I know there's a huge steel one that runs through there up into like the parks at Wilson Creek, which some of those lots at the parks at Wilson Creek, once they build out to like their phase 3, are gonna be backed up to those legit power lines. What is a 300? Oh, I'm just curious to see what a 138 kilowatt. Okay, there's steel poles. Yeah, so that's, yeah, when it gets to like the big steel poles, I tend to want to not be around that. 200 feet away though, I don't think. Yeah, so they look like this. Yeah, 200 feet away. I don't think it's a. Yeah, there's also a power station. Yeah, I know they're building a power station. They have one along Coit Road there, and like I think that's Prosper Trail, and then they have another one being built on the south side of Greenway, over off of Collin County Outer Loop. Yeah, the Coit. Let me see. Let me look at this map. I think those are fine. I mean, at the end, I don't know. I'm not over there right now to look at them, and I haven't been over there in a minute, but. The thing is if it's the steel power line and it's not like right behind it, let's go to Frontier Parkway, and you said Coit? Is this Coit here? Yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing you're looking at maybe like these lots on Lemon Max, and you're talking about this. Yeah, see, they're on the opposite side of Coit Road, which they're still pretty big. I mean, I probably wouldn't pick any of the lots that are along Lemon Max. I would try to pick something that's maybe a little bit more further into the neighborhood, or like up here. You know, I'd pick more towards the east side of Liliana. I know like the new development is north of like the elementary school. Is it this thing up here? Yeah. Yeah, I would. Yeah, those are just some legit power lines. The same thing happens up in this neighborhood here, which is Salina Hills, and then this is Wilson Creek Meadows in here. There's some Pulte homes that back up to that power line. I mean, that's a pretty like if it was like the wooden pole and it's only like what 20 feet high. You know, those usually don't worry me too much. Now, in the future, those could, you know, become steel ones but not go up any higher. But these ones that run through here are pretty legit. I personally wouldn't go for it. But that's just me. You might you might be okay with it. It might be the right lot, it might be the right builder, it might be the right floor plan, it might be at the right price, so there might be a compromise that you have to make. But for me, I generally would stay away from the power lines if if I walk out into my backyard and you're just like looking right up into it. But that's just me. I think it's better that it's across Coit Road and it's not on that side, but then again, it really doesn't matter because they're huge power lines. Does that maybe answer your question? Okay. Okay, so we got another one. Ooh, we're cooking right now, guys. We are cooking. Okay. Hi, Daniel. I'm a huge fan of your drive-through videos. I wanted to know which is a better place, school district-wise, Argyle ISD or Prosper ISD. Also, are Bloomfield builders good? So, here's the thing. Like, the family... Now, I make videos, like, mostly around Salina and Prosper and Frisco. So, like, my data is skewed kind of on, like, I could tell you, like, hey, majority of my family's like trying to get into Prosper ISD, but then again, I'm making videos that are like generally more in that area, right? I feel like if I would make more videos over in Argyle and over in those areas, I would probably have more families trying to get into Argyle ISD. Now, that being said, I've seen a trend of families going, when it comes to prices, like, they'll try to go for Prosper ISD. They'll then move maybe into Salina, but then they get put off by the high tax rates. So the thing is like, okay, now you're dealing with high tax rates because you have these PIDs and these MUDs. So then they'll look at school districts and then they'll go either over to the west side or the north side, the west side of Dallas, but like the north side of Fort Worth over there, or the northwest side of Dallas. And the same problem, you're gonna run into the same problems in the sense of like PIDs and MUDs and NMDs and all those kinds of like extra tax rates over in Argyle. But over in Melissa, you're going to find that you're going to have way lower tax rates, lower HOAs. Builders are kind of the hit or miss in that area. You're going to have like DR Horton, and you're going to have like Meritot, like you're going to have all those like lower end builders within there. There are going to be Highland Homes. There are going to be some nicer ones in there. There are some good communities along that side of Melissa ISD. The trend I see is like families trying to go into Prosper ISD, they'll look at Salina, they'll be like, I don't like the tax rates. They'll then try to figure out a different school district. They'll then look at Melissa, because Melissa ISD is ranked pretty good. Argyle's ranked well too, but I find that the trend is families will go over there because they'll look at Argyle ISD and they'll see that the neighborhoods over there are the same way when it comes to like the tax rates and all that type of stuff. So not to say like there are like neighborhoods over Melissa that might have like those extra fees here and there, but I find it a lot less over in that side of town than I do over in Argyle or some of those areas once people start like crunching the numbers and starting to look at things and paying extra. I think Prosper ISD is a better school district than Argyle ISD, but then again, what do I know? I went to Frisco ISD and I'm always going to have a bias towards Frisco ISD because that's where I graduated from. But the trend is I see way more families trying to get into Prosper ISD. That one's going to be like the highest ranked one. Argyle ISD, I find families that have kids that are in sports going into Argyle ISD. Like I've had multiple families that's like football, basketball, trying to get into Argyle ISD. So I think it also comes down to like what's the deal with your kid. Like you might have like a really young kid who's in elementary school and like the high school stuff maybe not doesn't matter to you right now, but sometimes I find that. So I think it also comes down to like what your intentions are with your kid and what you like. I've had some families that are like we had to get them into the basketball team over at Argyle, or like some families wanting Melissa because of like the school district, like it's up and like that's the next one that's like up and coming. Like I would say Prosper is like they've already built out not all their schools, but they they pulled out a big bond a while ago and then they built these schools and now they're getting the benefits from that. That's kind of what's happening with Melissa. They're finishing up like the extension of their high school. They're putting in more elementary schools. You're also seeing this with Salina. Salina has like, they're putting in another middle school. They're putting in all this stuff. But Okay, and then your next question is Bloomfield builders. I don't like Bloomfield. I'm sorry. I've walked into Bloomfield homes. They'll put in the kitchen, they'll put columns in front of the island that block the living room. They'll put tile on the whole first floor when it's like an inventory. This is like an inventory home. If you're building the home now, you can kind of pick those things. Closet spaces aren't that good. Not gonna have a whole bunch of closet room. Bedrooms are decent here and there. I mean, it also depends on like the lot size that you're looking at. But like, if you have a budget of a Bloomfield, I'd rather look at like an Ashtonwood, a Taylor Morrison, a K-Dot Hovnanian. I think there's better ones. Now, Bloomfield is probably going to offer some better incentives, but that's because they probably don't have as good of a demand for that builder. So I think it all just comes down to kind of what layout works for you. And like, I just find some Bloomfield homes that have like, you know, the second story will have a front, like a front balcony to it. And I just feel like, I don't, like, cool, you're giving me a front balcony, but like, I'd rather just have this be extended into a bedroom rather than giving me a balcony that just looks directly at just like another house. Like, I find you're not going to use that at all. So how much far away from power lines? Well, for me, like, so much as if your question is how far away would I be comfortable with being around power lines, like, if I can't see the power line, I guess that's the answer. Like, that's how far away I would want to be from a power line, is where I don't see the power line. Is it fine for, let's look at this address. Okay. Tanner, I just saw your question. I'll get to you in a sec. We actually have some good, good questions going on here today. I thought it was going to be a little bit slow, but that's on me. That's my bad, guys. It's my bad. Okay. Yeah, so this one is like fine because it's like in the neighborhood, right? I would take this. Like, I wouldn't take one that's like these 3609, 3605, 3601, but something like this where you're going to be in your backyard, right? And you're going to be sitting on your back patio and you're just going to be looking at your back neighbor. I think that's fine. That's not a big deal to me. Like, at the end of the day, you're not always going to be able to get around the power lines. So it's just going to be kind of one of those things. Like I said, so you're going to have to make compromises in this market here and there. Okay, Tanner, is Highland Home a good builder? Yes, they are a good builder. I do like them. I've done business with them. Just closed on a Highland Home last week. Everything went solid, all good. I've had no problems with Highland Homes. However, I'm sure there's stories out there. Every builder is going to have their thing. Also, with these new construction, and I'm thinking about doing like a video where I show like an inspection report from like a new construction build, because I think people, maybe not everyone thinks this, but like, you think new construction, you're like, everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to be fine. I'm going to tell you guys right now, even the best builders, when the inspection reports come back, like, all of them have come back with something red on them, in the sense of like, an outlet might be upside down, a shingle might be broken, a window might be broken, they might be missing a cap on the interior of the sink lines that go into the wall. Like, there's just little things here and there that might pop up, but in general, Highland Homes has been great. If you're looking at Highland Homes, like, you also could be looking at American Legend, and you might be looking at American Legend prices, and you might be like, wow, American Legend is priced lower than Highland Homes, like, and then you might have this thought where you're like, well, maybe American Legend isn't as good as Highland Homes. When I see it where it's like, Highland Homes doesn't offer because there's things these builders do, right? Like, Highland Homes, what they do is they'll, let's say, bump up their prices, but then they'll go back and they'll be like, you get $20K off at the design center, or you get $40K off on the design center, or $40K off on upgrades, or $40K off the price, which then matches where that American Legend is at. I find the American Legends don't offer, like, let's say, like, as good of incentives, right? They're just going to give you like a finance incentive, but if you walk in there and you're like, what incentives are you offering? They're going to be like, ha 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 ha, we're not offering anything, we don't do that here. So I just have families that look at Highland Homes and look at American Legend, and sometimes I think American Legend is as good because the prices. So Tanner, if you're also looking at Highland Homes, I would recommend to also look, I would also recommend to look at American Legend, as well. Okay. Hi, Danny. What's going on, Miss Ponderlit? You were able to catch the live stream today. How's it going? Okay. So looks like I answered everyone's. Okay, so we got another question from Shipra. What's your thoughts if a home has 4 bed and 3 bath, and we build standing shower on bath 2 and 3, no tub, and master bath to have standing shower and tub? Do you see any concerns with this layout? So I would always do at least 1 tub, because I've walked with families who have like very small. I was gonna say very small, babies. They have babies. And I think a tub is really important for like a baby, I guess. I mean, I don't have kids, so I don't know. I've never watched kids. That's sounding a little weird now. That's sounding a little, but you know what I'm saying, guys. Like, you have a baby, you're in the tub. So I think 1 tub is important, like in the house, to have like those families that have like, you know, a really, really small child. Because if you don't have any tubs within there, they're probably gonna knock it. But then again, like if you have a 3 bath, like, I definitely recommend doing 1 stand-in shower. I definitely recommend doing at least 1 tub in the house. So hopefully bath 2 has a tub, and then bath 3 has no tub. Yeah, kids and dogs. I've also seen some tubs, like I've also seen some utility rooms adding like a shower bay for your dog. Now those are some of the more custom ones, but I've kind of seen that happen too. Okay, let me make sure I'm not getting. Okay, do you see any concerns of this layout? Okay, here's the other thing that you just kind of brought up to my mind, is that I've started to see more the new construction builds, and I think you're gonna start seeing this within homes. I think you're gonna start seeing, 1, less fireplaces, because I think I talked about this last time. I talked about this in some of my videos. You're going to start seeing less fireplaces within homes, and then also in the primary bathroom, you're going to start seeing less tubs and bigger showers. I think that is a trend that is going to start happening over the next 3 to 4 years with these homes, and people are going to start walking into these primary bathrooms, because I think that there's been homeowners now that are going in and building new construction, and they're starting to be like, I'm not really using my tub. I'm not really using my primary tub. Why not just make that into a bigger shower? So I think if you're building a home and you're looking at stuff, I think you can. It depends on the shower upgrades, because there's some of these builders that will do like a super shower, right? Because their shower won't be as big, or they get rid of the tub. Like if you're on a 40-foot lot, if you're building a 40-foot lot home, I would recommend doing an extended shower instead of doing a tub, because it would open up that whole room, because the tub just kind of squeezes in that side of the wall. You have a super small shower, and I'm finding that the shower is way more important than the tub, but I'm also finding that you at least need like 1 tub throughout the house. At least 1. So that would be my only concern with that layout, is that you have at least 1 tub within there. That's what I would do. Could you do a video on updates or upgrades that have a good return on investment? Yes, that is a good idea. I will get to that. I will even jot that down. Okay, do videos. Anyone else want video? We got 9 people watching right now, so it's popping off. So can people leave a comment over what types of videos you want me to see you want me to do over this next month and see on the channel? Because this really helps me, guys. Because like right now, I'm kind of shooting blind. Like I just try to make something, and then I see if the response is good, and sometimes it gets views, sometimes it doesn't. But definitely let me know in the comments, in the chat right now, like what other videos. So do videos, good return on investment. I think doing hardwood floor is a must. Doing a study with built-ins with like a floor outlets, doing floor outlets within like the primary living area, waterfall edge, kitchen island, doing cabinets stacked up to the ceiling, doing some, if you have like a 1-story plan, adding a little bit more windows to like the dining area, Sliding glass patio door isn't really a big one, but an extended patio is another big one. These are just the ones off the top of my head. And I'm just going off like what I walk in with buyers and what they care about most, right? And that's what you should kind of be thinking about when you're building your home. Because maybe at some point, I mean, at the end of the day, like, unless you're building your forever home, right, you're probably going to be wanting to also, you know, kind of be in that middle where like you're building the home for you and like how you want to live in it, but you also want to build it for, you know, potentially someone else buying it and it being a good investment too. What else? Primary bedroom, I would try to get at least 10-foot high ceilings. 12 foot's really, really good if you can go with that. Trying to think about what else. Okay, hi Danny, thanks for the session. The ball predicted, what's your opinion? Should we wait? Is there any chance of prices coming down in the near future? All right, so here's the thing. Geopolitically, I mean, crap's hitting the fan, right, guys? Like, we have no, I mean, in that sense of things, I have no idea what's to come into this future. If I just go off what's happened every year so far when it comes into the winter months, because these things, and I'm talking about new construction, because these things kind of go in cycles. When we get into the winter months, right, we're in fall, right, we're in fall right now. Builders are kind of slowing things down. They're going to start really focusing on their inventory lots that they have. I'm starting to see it now more and more. I have some neighborhoods that are offering buy downs to 4.99% or locking in rates at 4.9, and then your second year is 5.9, and then you're at a 6.9. Prices are going to continue to drop. However, if you're doing like a new construction build, those prices aren't going anywhere. So like if you're going into something and you're trying to, you know, build from scratch, build a lot, like nothing's going to change there when it comes to the prices, but the inventory homes, what I have found over, you know, my experience of working with families and them getting the best deals, buying a new construction in winter is when and especially before January, because the builder has to carry that home over into the next year and deal with those taxes. So if you can get something that's closing at the end of this year, they offer some pretty good deals. I've seen stuff where they come off, you know, $25,000 in price, do $30,000 back at closing, do 3% back at closing, you know, some pretty good things out there. What this market and these things are going to do is there are going to be people that are going to be waiting on the sidelines. There's some markets out there that are sitting on inventory where we are back into a balanced market, pushing potentially into a buyer's market in some places. Some people would say, even though we've been in a seller's market over the past 2 years, some people would say that we've been in a buyer's market because, you know, 2020 and 2021 was just so crazy where buyers were having to give an arm and a leg to like get an offer accepted, that now it's way easier for a home to go under contract. So even though we were in a seller's market, people still felt like we were in a buyer's market because sellers were actually doing concessions. Like if you asked for like, you know, $100 option and 10-day option period, right? The sellers were like, okay, that's good. But beforehand, 2021, it was like 3-day option period, putting $1,000 on option, like just terrible situation for buyers. What this is going to end up doing is just creating a bunch of pent-up demand. So people are going to be waiting on the sidelines for a while, and they're going to be waiting and waiting, and then prices are going to still be dropping, but then I think it's going to come at some point where we're going to see, I think, once we go into the election, right, I think that's when rates will really start to fall off. The Fed has, actually this last Fed meeting wasn't so hawkish. They kind of sounded like they were going to pause rates, and I think that's what the Powell came off saying, is that, and then you saw the market react to that, and then you saw interest rates kind of dropped back down, and I think the last interest rate, let me see my thing. Let me look at the mortgage rates. Yeah, so the mortgage rates dropped down for a 30-year to 7.38. I was seeing that number at 8%, yeah, 803, and I had buyers working with over the past 2 weeks that were not locked in, but they were approved for a 7.8, and people were still making offers at a 7.8. So I would be interested to see like what happens going into this next month, where rates kind of go and where they pause at, and if we see this number, I think if we see rates get back down by next year to 5.5, I think a bunch of buyers are going to come back in, and then you're probably going to be, if you wait for that, you're probably going to be on the end of like what people were dealing with back in 2021, where it's just going to be a lot more competition. So you're just going to you're not going to be taking more of a risk, but you're going to be taking more of a risk in the sense of like, maybe you have to do a shorter option period, maybe you have to do a higher option, maybe you have to put down more earnest, maybe you have to do these little things that right now this market, you can kind of get away with a lot more on the buy, and it'd be more buyer friendly. So, and I think it just comes down to what you're comfortable with. At the end of the day, it's the inventory that makes all the difference, and right now, new construction is what drives demand. So if new construction slows up, which they have been doing, and they can continue to do that over this next year, and just kind of wait for the market to kind of funnel back into itself, right? Because if people own a home, then they're not selling that home because then they don't want to, there's nothing else out there that's new construction. And like, I'm still working with buyers right now that are really frustrated with the inventory because the inventory just sucks in some places. Now, if you get out to Argyle, Fate, Texas, like you get out to these outskirts, they're sitting on some inventory, and then that's where like some of the better deals are. All right, I went on a bit of a tangent, but hopefully that gives you a little general idea of like where I think things are going in the future. Okay, thank you for all the house tours this week. Enjoyed watching. I Miss Ponder Lit. I'm sitting on videos right now. So I'm telling you right now, I have like a fire burning under my booty about getting videos out and sitting on things, because I already see it happening where like I'm working with more families, and like, right, if I'm going to take families out and doing stuff, I gotta make time to make videos. So like I've been going in and shooting like 4 videos in one day. That way I can edit those videos, sit on those. So like you guys are gonna be seeing a lot more videos coming out over this next week. So it is a big help that if you guys leave comments in the chat, live stream, anytime on any of my other videos, just giving me some ideas about some stuff. All right, video ideas. You gave me some video. Here we go. The different appointments when purchasing a new construction. How can we be prepared? How can we go prepared for the different appointments? What are considered structural updates versus non-structural updates? So how you can prepare for an appointment. So, I mean, first of all, you got to talk with the builders and what they do with their appointments. Like Tradition Homes is a lot more granular when it gets to like their kind of specifications. Like they'll do 3 appointments with the buyer because they want to like hone in. Meanwhile, you might have someone like American Legend, which might do 2 appointments, right? You might go in, or like David Weekly, where you might meet the sales agent, you'll do your voltage, you'll do your, well, you pick your structure upgrades at like the beginning when you go under contract. So when you go under contract, you are picking your floor plan, you're picking your elevation, you're picking your structure upgrades, and that's even like from what type of kitchen you want in there to if you want like the glass sliding doors, how many windows you want to add. Everything that's not structure is like in the sense of like colors. So like paint colors, if you want them to paint the home, hardwood, the type of hardwood, tiling, what level of tiling, the countertops, like anything you can pick color wise is what's going to be like your non-structural upgrades. Anything structural is going to be like them having to frame it to build it out. So like if you do like a double stacked oven, that's a structure upgrade because they are having to set the thing is like the builder has to submit the permits to the city. So like the city doesn't care what tile you do on the inside, but the city does care what that house is going to look like structurally. So they have to get all that stuff. Now, I've had some builders that are like, because brick color is a big thing, especially if like a family's relocating and they don't know the brick colors going on with stuff. Brick colors, I've had some builders working with families where it's like they don't need to decide on the brick color right now. They'll give them some addresses. That family will drive around. They'll go look at that home. They'll go look at the neighborhoods and see what is going on with that color and that brick and how they like it and see how the sun hits it. And then I have some other builders that are like, no, we need the exterior brick chosen right then and there. So like on your initial appointment, you will have to you'll come out with the price. You'll have your base price, and the earnest will be based off that, base price. So like, let's say your base price is $600,000. They'll take 3% or 5% of that towards your earnest, and then they'll take your exterior elevation, which I would budget another 5 to 8, 8 to 10, 12. I mean, it could be 12,000 depending on how much stone's on the exterior. So that's another 8 to 12. Then you could want painted brick. That could be another $8,000. So you got $20,000 in there on just elevation. And these are high numbers. And then you could have, your structure upgrades, which you could just start like going with structure upgrades. So you could, you could have your base price at 700, and then by the end of that first contract meeting, you could already be at like 780, maybe even over 800 if you have a lot premium. Okay, so how is MI Homes build quality? Is 13 by 17 a good size master bedroom, or do you recommend to add a bay window to make it yes. If the primary bed, they're offering like an extension on that primary bedroom, I would try to at least get a 14 by 19 area of your primary bedroom. 14 by 19 or above, I think that's good. 13 by 17 is going to be pretty tight. MI Homes, not the best quality. I'd honestly take a Bloomfield home over an MI home. The finishes, I mean, it's just kind of like, some people, like, there was a whole bunch of people that bought into the Creeks of Legacy KB homes, right, that go into Prosper ISD over in Salina. Those are some of, like, the most, I don't want to say ratchet, because, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to burn bridges, and I'm doing videos with these builders, but, like, I tell it how it is, like, and I hope you guys, like that with kind of my videos, and I just kind of give it how, I feel like there's some agents out there that just, not to say I know everything, but I just feel like there's some agents that are just pumping out things and content about builders that if you walk through it, like, and you walk through another builder, like, you definitely will feel a difference. Like, I walked through those KB homes at the Creeks of Legacy, and they even finished doing the sheetrock on the garage and painting it. Like, everything was unfinished. I wasn't a fan. But that's about KB homes. MI Homes is going to be better than KB or DR Horn or like Centex, but I would take a Taylor Morrison, a David Weekley. I understand if you're looking at MI Homes because like you're trying to stay within a budget, but MI Homes is going to be on like not the lowest end, but like maybe the bottom of the middle of the pack. There's just so many builders, so it's just hard for me to like list all those and like put them in. Do you have videos on the Parks at Wilson Creek site plan? Yes, I do. If you go to my Salina playlist, all my Parks at Wilson Creek videos, besides like maybe some of the tradition homes, I talk about kind of what they're doing within there. They're behind on their phase right now, so like their phases, they were already supposed to be into their phase 2, but they were having transformer problems, so I think they're now getting into like their next phase. They're sitting on, the 40-foot lots are sitting on like a bit of inventory right now. And then some of their 60-foot lots, I think they're priced just a little bit too high, but like I said, the longer those sit going into, eventually I think those are going to get eaten up once we go like into December, January, because I think those are when the best deals are going to be. And I think you're going to see, watch, real estate agents are going to go to social media this week, and they're going to be like, rates are dropping, the market's heating back up, right? Because we were at 8%, now we're at 7.3%, so they're going to start doing their blah, 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 when in reality, like, there's still better things that are going to be happening, so just wait a little bit longer. And that's just from experience, from what I've seen with things. Parks at Wilson Creek or wait for Mosaic. If you care about school districts, go with the Mosaic. It's going to be almost a wash between both of those neighborhoods because you have a tax, over at the Parks at Wilson Creek, you have a tax rate of 2.29%, but depending on the lot size, like those 60-foot lots will have like $2,900 per year on that tax rate, on that PID. But then over at Mosaic, they're going to have the PID worked into the tax rate where it's like, because some of these neighborhoods, they'll work it in where it's like the tax rate's 2.9 or the tax rate's like 2.29 and then they have a $2,900 per month PID. So it kind of comes out to a wash. For the Mosaic, I'm not the biggest fan of it because they're putting in townhomes on the north side. The south side I'm fine with. Those are good lots in there. But the north side, on the north side of the amenity center, I just don't like how they're putting townhomes in there. Not the biggest deal with things, but I just rather be in a neighborhood where it's just single family homes, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know what they're going to be doing with renters. But I just like something where it doesn't have townhomes within it. But then again, sometimes you just can't get away from that. Like some of these master plan communities, they're adding the townhomes, so you just can't run away. But I'm just someone that, like, if I was buying a townhome, I'd be like, I'm buying in the Mosaic because I'm surrounded by single family homes, right? And you're always gonna be at the bottom of that market in the sense because you're a townhome competing with the other single family homes that are gonna be way more expensive. But I like the Mosaic. I mean, they got tradition homes in there. Parks at Wilson Creek has tradition homes in there. It'll be interesting to see what the Mosaic looks like. The other thing with Parks at Wilson Creek is they're putting in like a 100-acre park system in there. I think the amenities are going to be like, for the amenities the developer is putting in there, they're going to be about the same. But the Parks at Wilson Creek is going to have, like, let's call it an extended amenity center where it's going to have the huge 100-acre park, a part of Salina. So like that's the other thing to look forward to. But it's going to go into Salina ISD. They are building a school district or a school within an elementary school within both of those neighborhoods, so you're going to get that too. Okay, so here we go. Does inventory homes price impact other home site prices? For example, the Parks at Wilson Creek Tradition Homes inventory homes 502 plans list for $740. Should that be the budget we should continue to stick to when building the same floor plan on a home site? Worried about evaluation since the floor plan is the same, so will the bank value inventory home versus buildable plan differently? Well, the buildable plan is going to take you 12 months to build, so we're going to be in a completely different market after 12 months. So an appraiser will look at 6 months back, so they won't even, like, let's say the inventory home is sold December and then your home is built over a year. The appraiser won't look at that inventory home that was closed in December. They're going to be looking at the homes that are similar in size and square footage to that home within 6 months. So they're not going to really compare those things. I guess it could be a good baseline to kind of understand, like, okay, the base price of that plan is starting in the 600s. You know, you could go walk that inventory home, you could go see what the inside of it is, and then you could get a better idea on, like, what spending $140,000 feels like within the home. But then also, like, it's not just about the upgrades. You got to keep that in mind. Like, some of those lots have lot premiums on them. So, like, you know, you might walk into an inventory home, you might see the starting price at 600s, you might walk into an inventory home that's at 740, and you're like, wow, it's $140,000 different. Like, this doesn't feel like they put $140,000 in upgrades. Well, it might not just be the upgrades, it might also be the lot premium. I've seen lots that are north facing on a corner be like $30,000. If it's an 86-foot lot, I've done deals where the lot premium was $60,000 on a corner. So sometimes that happens. Tradition Homes is pre-selling a Mosaic. The Parks at Wilson Creek is good because you can get in phase 1. Daniel cover the parks. Yes, I have Miss Ponderlit, you're on top. I mean, you're like my number one fan here. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tanner says thanks. No, thank you, Tanner. Okay, thank you. Shabashri says thanks. And then I just gotta throw this out there, you know, because I'm just one of those thirsty agents. If you guys want to work together, save you some money at closing. I love working with my families from YouTube. Here's my information. If you guys have any other questions, if you're dipping out after this live stream or right now, that's my contact information. Just send me a text, and I'll be happy to work with you guys. Okay. All right, we good on questions right now? Because I started this video saying I wanted to talk about the Mosaic Tradition Homes because they just released their floor plans. I got an email from the sales agent yesterday. So I wanted to talk about those real quick. I have it currently on my tab. So if no one else has any specific questions, we'll just jump. But man, and this is so beautiful when people be blowing up the chat because we're 45 minutes into this live stream. So thank you guys. Thank you for making today go by a little bit. Okay, hold on. Hey, you know what, Miss Ponderlit? There will always be another I've had plenty of people come in and they just come across my videos. Like, at the end of the day, I'm in it for the long game. I'm 25 years old. Like, I'm gonna be here. I've lived here in Frisco for 25 years. I'm gonna be living in here for another 25 years. I'm sure there'll be another deal. I'm in no rush. And that's the other thing, like, when I first started my channel, I think there's also like an ego check that goes with it, because like, as like a real estate agent, I think there's a sense of like, you feel like everyone should work with you, like you feel like you're the best. And like, I know I should feel like that. I should feel like, hey, I am doing the best, because I want to believe in myself. I want to provide the best product for my clients. I want to give them the best knowledge, especially when they're relocating to the area and doing those things. But I think there's also an ego check where it's like, I think, and at the beginning of my business, when I was first starting the YouTube channel, and like I had no like future business going on, I think it hit me a lot harder when someone would come in and be like, I'm already working with an agent and those types of things, and I would be like, damn man, like I missed them or something like that. But now I'm working with plenty. I have actual business out there now. I have plenty of homes that are new construction under contract that are going to be closing next year. So when someone comes in, like, I feel like I can push business away when it comes to some things. Like, I had someone call me, I think I talked about this on my last live stream. I had someone call me and was talking to me about a D.R. Horton home, and I was just like, I might not be the agent for you. Like, I might not, because I honestly refuse to do business with D.R. Horton. Because, like, that's just a liability waiting to happen. Like, I just want to deal with that. And the reason I say that is, like, I'm just not saying that, you know, let's call it what it is, like, crapping on D.R. Horton. But like my family, like we've lived out here for so long, my family actually has experience with D.R. Horton, and like my parents built a home for my grandma in a D.R. Horton, and it was just a complete disaster. I'm also working with two families. I was working with one family from Oregon who had a D.R. Horton, and I ended up suing D.R. Horton. And then I have another family from Colorado, and they're in a D.R. Horton, and it was an absolute mess for them to build new construction. So I just find it ironic that my family's had a bad experience, and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So like, I'm at this point now where I just kind of like, I feel like I can push business aside, which is like great too. I was, you know, I feel like it would have taken me a lot longer, but like I said at the beginning, like, I think there's a bit of an ego check when it comes to these things, because I just got to understand, like, not everyone's going to want to work with me, right? But then there's other people that do. So your videos are super helpful, especially for out-of-state buyers like me. I've recommended you to my friends and family in Dallas. Hopefully one of them will work with you soon. Hey, I appreciate that. And I will say this. The other part of the business with real estate is, and you know, being like an agent that's getting into the business, you don't really have referral business. And like, I'm 25 years old, so like, you know, these brokerages will tell me, like, let's call it training. They'll come to me and they'll be like, well, Daniel, you need to contact your sphere. You know, you need to contact your sphere of people, because those are the people that are going to, you know, tell them, well, I'm 25. None of my friends are buying homes. So, and I could go talk to my friend's parents, but my friend's parents still view me as like the 10-year-old that they grew up with. So like, that's kind of hard to like get them to kind of view me in a different way. So like, that was out the table. So then I was like, okay, what's my strengths? My strengths are making videos, marketing. I feel like I generally have a good personality sometimes. So I was like, I'm gonna make videos. I'm gonna keep on making videos. I'm gonna see how that goes. And it's worked out so far. Haven't looked back. But I will say the referral business is something that just doesn't get started. Like, it's just hard. But now, like, I would say like 95% of the homes I put under contract, that family, that buyer has then referred me to another person. Like, literally 95%. So like, the referral business is just going to be something that, you know, if I can stay in the pocket and just keep on working, like, the referral business will be like a big return for me later on. It's just like right now, it's just not one of those things, because, you know, I'm just doing, you know, I'm doing good business, but I haven't been in it for, you know, 10 years, 15 years. So we'll get there. Like I said, I'll be here for another 25 years. Okay. All right, no one's leaving any questions. So I guess the people that are just watching now are just entertained by me talking. So we'll get into the tradition homes. We'll look at these home sites. They are now pre-selling. I've sent a message to the sales agent to actually get like pricing, but they haven't messaged me back. So, okay. Oh, this is funny. They took the photos from the home. These are the homes that are at the parks at Wilson Creek. They took those photos and put them on here. Okay, so this is the 6011 plan. I'm a fan of. I think that's one of my favorite plans because it's got this huge bathroom, huge closets. Like, this is my top one. If I had to choose a tradition home, this floor plan would be the floor plan I'd go with. And the elevation I'd pick would probably be elevation B. I'm not really a fan of like the elevation C, like that. I think they call it like the Tudor traditional kind of squared off look. I like something like elevation B. I think that looks nice. The thing with elevation C is that I believe this room is an office here, and you see how that has that extended roof line? It's only going to be cutting into the natural light that's going to be coming into that office. So like, I wouldn't go with that. But you also get, this floor plan also adds an optional upstairs too. So like, if you do want to add like a fun game room. Okay, it's a bedroom at the front. Okay, so that's what I thought. So yeah, that bedroom would have less light coming in through the front of it. Media room, 3-car garage, kitchen, hearth room is nice. But it has this huge, this 6011 plan has this huge extended covered patio area, which I think is awesome. And then you also get 13-foot ceilings, which usually in these builds, I'm seeing like, you know, if it's vaulted up, you might be on a 40-foot lot, it might be a 13-foot ceiling, it might not be. Usually it's like 10 to 12. So like, they're giving you a little bit more space on the ceiling too. And then you also can do this optional bay window. So I think someone was talking about that earlier. If that's a good upgrade, that is a good upgrade. That is one of the upgrades I would select for structure-wise. Yeah, and then you can do like an upstairs optional guest suite. So I think like, this is one of my favorite plans. Because you could keep it 1 story, but you could also bump it up to a 2-story where it still like looks like a 1-story at the front. Visually, I like the look of 1-stories, like the curb appeal of 1-stories. So like, this one will have the curb appeal of like a 1-story, but then it also have that secondary in the back of the home. I think I did a tour of the I did a tour over the 5541. Yeah. All right, what else is there? Let's look at the 6031. Don't really like that elevation. Okay. These ones got weird windows. They put the windows in like a weird spot. I don't know, that just looked weird to me. Alright, let's look at this floor plan. So this is the 6031. See, I don't like this back patio as much because it's a little bit more open. Like that previous one on the 6011 plan, I like how the owners in the hearth room kind of extend out and then you're in this like little cubby. What's your opinion of the 5022 plan? Well, I did a video. Yeah, it's too much patio. That's what I feel like. It's too much patio. So, what's your opinion on the 5022? I actually, Tanner, have you seen my videos over the parks at Wilson Creek with the 5022? I did a whole walkthrough with it and I actually compared that one with the 5021. Do you see that one by chance? Maybe you've just come across my stuff, so no worries. No worries. I'm not gonna rush you into it. I don't have to do it. Or it was the 5012, sorry, not the 5021. Had the numbers backwards. So I will tell you right now the things I don't like about this plan and the things I do like about this plan. So here's the 5022. I like this one in the sense of like the owner's bathroom into the utility closet, into that how this is all laid out. Owner's bathroom, into the closet, into the laundry room. Kitchen was nice, dining was fine, great room, but I like the 5012 how it has the hearth room extended, and also how the owners and the hearth room kind of extend out. So if we look at the 5012 plan, or 50, I keep doing it, 5012 plan. So if we look at this one, the one thing I just don't like about this one is this circle thing going on in the middle. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they did that. We went with 5012 versus 5022 because we felt 5022 has too many bathrooms. Yep, it could have too many bathrooms. Could be one of the things. And I think it just depends on like how you see yourself living in the home as well. I mean, at the end of the day, the tradition homes are going to offer the best value because like all their bedrooms are going to come with their own bathrooms. Now that's going to eat in maybe a little bit to the space of the bedroom, but not really. I feel like I still feel like the bedroom sizes are similar to the other ones. Now with these tradition homes on these 1-stories, you're going to have a bigger footprint. So if like the backyard space is really important to you, these 1-story homes are going to have a pretty big layout, so you're not going to get as much space on that backyard. So some of these lots, even though they're a 60 foot and they might be like 120 depth, it might be cutting it close on some things if you want to add like a pool. So kind of keep that in mind too. I'd go with, if you want a smaller footprint on the land, go with the 2-story home because they're building like the same square footage, so you got to think about it like that 1-story is more squished, taking up more area of the yard, and that 2-story is more vertical, taking up less of that backyard. And sometimes it's 5 to 10 feet. Yeah, I don't agree that a rotunda is annoying. Yeah, okay, 130 depth, yeah. But even at 130 depth, some of the backyards on those ones I walked through had a pretty small backyard, so it'd be pretty tight. Now, if you're more in the neighborhood, right, if it's not backed up to something, a walkway, it might be, it just depends, just walk the lot, see what it's like. I actually, on my previous live stream, Subhashri, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'm so sorry if I'm botching that. It is, last week I did a walkthrough over those 50-foot lots and talked about those floor plans. I can kind of discuss those as well again. Did you inquiry about their, did you send them an email for their prices? Because last week when I was on their website, they didn't have the prices. So which flooring is better, vinyl engineering wood or ceramic tiles? Okay, I would take the vinyl engineer wood floor over the ceramic tiles because yes, we live in Texas, and most of the time it's hot. However, when we get into those cold months and you have ceramic tile through your house, like your efficiency on your home is going to drop dramatically because you're going to have to keep that home a lot warmer because those floors are not going to be well insulated. So just kind of keep that in mind. Yes, we do live in Texas. It is hot as hell most of the time, but when we get into those winter months, unless you're wearing socks or shoes around, if you're doing barefoot, like good luck, Chuck, because it's going to be a lot colder. So just kind of keep that in mind too. I'd go with the vinyl engineering wood over the ceramic tiles. Does adding stone to the elevation make any difference to durability of the home? I would say yes, it does in some aspects. Now, I'm not a structural engineer, so I'm just going to go off what I've seen with homes. When I walk homes, like let's say I'm working with a buyer that's looking at pre-owned homes, and they're looking at some stuff that's like 10 years old, I've seen inspection reports come back where the brick and the mortar where the stone and that area where it meets have like a big crack going through it. And this has happened a good amount of times where I've been like, okay, yeah, I probably wouldn't. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I've like actually recognized it and been like, yes, maybe at the beginning that stone looks good, but over like as your home settles, now your home could settle and over that first year it starts working in the cracks to your home, and then after that you don't see that crack go any bigger. Like you'll see that sometimes in bathroom tiling, you might see at the corner of some walls in the house settling. That's all standard, that's not a big deal. If the crack is going like vertical or maybe like a straight line horizontal, that's all right. It's when the cracks start making like weird shifts and like going like at an weird angles that just like shifting. Those are the cracks that are more like structural, but the other ones, you know, it's the homes are just settling into the foundation. I'm starting to see more families go, I think like maybe 5 years ago, people were like doing like the stone with the brick, and now I'm seeing the trend be that people are just getting rid of the stone, and that's where you could actually save money. So like, for example, American Legend will do something where you might build a home and the elevation might be brick with stone, and then you tell them that you don't want to do stone, and then they'll give you a concession back for not doing the stone, and you might save a little bit more money. Okay, perfect. You'll go over the last live stream. No worries. Okay. Well, definitely send me a text, Sabastri. I'd love to work with you. Unless you're already working with an agent. In that case, I understand. You won't hurt my feelings. Does that make sense, Shipra? I mean, just something to think about. Okay, so Sim says Salina versus Argyle with respect to future development and better returns. At the end of the day, I don't know what's going to get better returns because I don't have a genie ball. Like, Salina could all of a sudden say that they're putting a landfill in somewhere up on that north side of Collin County, and then all of a sudden you'll see a worse return. I can talk about, okay, how you do see better returns when there's more developments going in that area, and if I base it off that, I would take Salina over Argyle because Salina is closer to Frisco, and I think the closer you stay to Frisco, the better returns you would potentially see out in the future. That's kind of how I see it. Salina, right now, they're bringing in their Costco, they're bringing in the HOB. They're bringing in the H-E-Baba, they're bringing in the Chipotles, they're bringing in the hospital systems, they're bringing in a new police district and headquarters. Like, Salina's on the come up right now. I think Argyle still has a little bit more of that time. Like, I don't think you'll see Argyle really kind of go crazy with like good developments. I'm talking about like mixed use developments where you could go out and enjoy stuff with the family for like probably another 2 to 3 years. Meanwhile, Salina is like already on that wave, and like they're already reworking their whole downtown area. They have Uptown Salina coming in. Like, if I'm basing off future returns, off future developments, I would go with Salina over Argyle. Now you're gonna look at the Salina prices and you're gonna be like, wow, that's super expensive for being 50 minutes outside of Dallas. But I think people are basing that price off of Frisco now, and I think it's more important to be, the closer you can be to Frisco, the better off you're going to be in the future for returns. That's what I generally think, because Frisco is going to be where the most jobs and headquarters. The intersection of Plano and Frisco, where the Dallas North Tollway and 121 meet, those are some of like the biggest corporate headquarters are along there. Alright, Tanner says, thanks for being so helpful. I will be looking forward to the new videos. Okay, awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'm sitting on like 4 videos right now. I will say I have gotten a little lazy with the Plano, Texas, driving every street, but those are just so, those are so difficult to make, guys. Those are just so difficult to make. But I'll do better, because someone left a comment this morning and was like, I'm really looking forward to these videos every week, and I dropped the ball on them. However, I did make a bunch of videos. Okay, Shipra, I don't always say stay away from retaining walls. Yes, there are some moments where I say stay away from retaining walls, but I think some of the retaining walls are fine, so don't get this completely skewed, but yes, sometimes I would say stay away from the retaining wall. If the retaining wall is in the front yard, definitely stay away from, because the investment of your home is all about curb appeal, and like let's say you sell your home in 10 years, that front retaining wall is probably going to be deteriorating in some way, where it's going to be something you either have to fix, or it's going to be something that's negotiated into the contract where the buyer is saying, hey, we need to fix this retaining wall because it just doesn't give a good curb appeal to the home. So if it's at the front of the home, that's when I'm like, no go. If it's at the back of the home, I'm usually okay with it, as long as it's under like 4 to 5 feet. If you get into one of those retaining walls where it's like 10 feet, 9 feet, 8 feet, where like I walk into my backyard and I can't even see the sunset because all I'm looking at is a rock climbing wall, yeah, probably don't want to do that. I would say under 6 feet. I mean, 6 feet, 4 feet, final answer. Under 4 feet, final answer. Side yard retaining walls are sometimes okay, but it also depends on if your home is up on a hill. You'll be in some of these neighborhoods where, like Highland Lakes at McKinney or Sweetgrass and Hazlitt, like some of those lots literally look like stair steps as like you go down the street with those lots. And if you're picking one of those lots, I would pick at the top. Why are we tipping me money? Miss Ponderlit, why are we tipping me money? Is it? All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Wow, you just tipped me $50. That's my first tip on live stream. That's crazy. I thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna say I don't need it, because your boy's gonna be going out and buying some Bucky's brisket with that money. So shout out to you, Miss Ponderlit. I'll be thinking about you. Wow, thank you a lot. Wow, you really are my number one. Wow, wow. You need some coffee. No, I don't need some coffee. Victoria needs some coffee. She's the one that's got me hooked now. Beforehand, I never did Starbucks, and then I started dating Victoria, and she was all about Starbucks, and now I'm like, I'm not like over there like, but I don't mind a hot white mocha on a cold day. You know what I'm saying? I know. Okay, what else? Yeah, I will buy. Well, I'm always buying her coffee. She buys me coffee sometimes too. We're kind of frustrated because the coffee at the Reserve, or the Starbucks over at Legacy West, it used to be a Reserve and then they turned it into a normal Starbucks. They had some cool drinks in there, but I guess they got rid of that. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if you're familiar, Miss Ponderlit, with Legacy West. I guess you said you're relocating, so have you checked out most of the area? Or like when's the home supposed to close? And what site are you building or buying a home on? Because I have a couple families that are on Lafayette, so I might know who your neighbor is if you're building on that street. I mean, my specific I don't know if I completely answered all the retaining wall stuff, but the specific reason is just curb appeal on the front, and then the back side it being too high where you don't really feel like you're in an open backyard. It feels like it's closed in. And then sometimes the retaining walls just deteriorate. So if I can limit the amount of upkeep I have to do on my home, right, when it comes to sell that home, the better. So that's why I say, like, just keep that in mind with the retaining walls. Like, they look fine right now, and like how things go, but like for me, if I'm buying a property or something like that, that's usually what I would stay away from, or at least think about, All right, I'm at an hour and 10 minutes. This has been the most successful live stream I think I've had so far. Okay, I think they're pushing. Is there Cat 7 now? I feel like I've heard the term Cat 7. Is Cat 7 a thing? I feel like Cat 7 is a thing because my dad is like super into all of this like internet stuff because my family works from home, or my parents work from home, so they're like all about the internet, and like they've lived in Frisco. Like I said, we've been living in Frisco like for 20 years, like over 20 years, and they have not brought fiber. Like there's places up in Salina now that have fiber, and yet, okay, Cat 7. Okay, so only Cat 6. Yeah, I would go with the Cat 6. But I guess it depends on how many. Like, I think if you have, maybe if you just have one person working in the house, maybe the Cat 5 is fine. But if you have multiple people, like, I definitely would stick with the Cat 6. Yeah, default option is Cat 5. I think the Cat 6, you'd probably be happier depending on, like, how much of that network you're kind of running on. And how much you're using, right? Like how many people are living in your house, how many people are streaming things, like does everyone have a Netflix account, is everyone on a TV at one time? Like I think it's also dependent on like your family and how many people are living in it too. But like my parents, they've been living in the same house and they've never gotten fiber, and now 23 years later they're finally putting fiber into this part of the neighborhood, which I just think it's so ironic because up in Salina, they're running fiber through those areas now, and it's like you're all the way up in Salina and you got better internet than people that have been living in Frisco this whole time. There's a couple dead spots at Frisco. When Highland will release floor plan for Mosaic? I think I got that. So I don't know. I'm gonna guess that since. Sorry, my brain was like computing right there. I froze. Since Perry Homes and Tradition just released that stuff, I would expect Highland Homes to probably release their things within the next 2 weeks. That's when I would expect. But you can send me a text, Sim, and I can kind of keep you updated when stuff comes across my screen, if that's what you're interested in right now, and trying to get like the timelines of things. Like I said, they just now released the Tradition Homes. Literally yesterday, I got an email, and then two and a half weeks, 3 weeks ago, they started Perry Homes started releasing a Mosaic. Yeah, so the 380 bypass is a complete debacle right now. They have no idea what they're doing with that. So they're missing like, I don't know, I'm guessing you watch a good amount of my videos, but I must do 380 bypass, missing funds. Yeah, so like, this is it. Here's a thing. This came out a couple months ago. Collin County officials worried funds for Highway 380 end up outside of North Texas. So they're missing about, what's the number, like $400 million? Yeah, so here we go. Only for the excitement to fade away when they discovered $480 million of that budget could be used on another highway project, not even in North Texas. So, yeah. Don't really know what's going on with this. I don't know. I feel like they have no idea what's going on. I think there's going to be a huge uproar between McKinney and Prosper, and it's still going on. Like, people are still fighting and voting on things. So I have no idea. What are your views on Liliana community overall? Well, I would only take American Legend and Highland Homes that are in there. I don't even think Highland Homes is building in. Are they building in there still? I feel like they were almost done. Maybe they're on the next. I mean, that whole neighborhood is almost done, but I would take American Legend or Highland Homes. I wouldn't take a Bloomfield, or I think MI's in there as well. I wouldn't take those builders. I'd take the other two, better quality, better homes. I don't mind Liliana. Personally, I like the west side of Dallas North Tollway, or being along the Dallas North Tollway. The roads that lead into Liliana are still like one lane, so like that's gonna be the frustrating thing. If you're a commuter in the mornings, that's gonna be one of the frustrating things, is getting onto Preston, then driving on Preston, getting onto 380, then getting on 380 to then get onto the Dallas North Tollway, rather than living along one of those communities that are like right up the Dallas North Tollway where it'll be like a quick shot, or maybe being on the west side of Preston Road. Just kind of keep that in mind, that living over on that east side of Preston Road, you're maybe going to run into a little bit more traffic here and there, but I guess that kind of has to do something with the community, right? Because it's like your commute aspect with things, but the community in general, like I like how it's laid out. It's got good pocket parks within there. You got the elementary school. Like I think it's all good. Thank you so much for all your input. Unfortunately, we were working with a real estate agent. Yeah, no worries. I'm just here to help. Like I said, you can't catch them all, guys. You can't catch them all. It's all right. All right, we got any more questions? Any more? I think that's where I'm gonna end today's live stream. Did I really go over the floor plans? Here's the link in case anyone cares. I'm just gonna put this in the chat in case somebody like comes back to this later, but this is the link to the mosaic floor plans that they have there. So, all right, so guys, join me. Hold on, let me look at my date. Also, did any of y'all get it that are subscribed or notifications? Did y'all get an update that I was starting my live stream? I'm just always interested to see if people got an update. Let me look at my calendar. What the hell, YouTube? You didn't get a notification. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have to pray to the YouTube gods to help me out. Alright, so join me next week, guys, on the 12th. I'll be in here at like 11:40, 12 o'clock. I don't know why YouTube isn't sending out notifications. Maybe DR Horton's trying to keep me quiet and they're like conspiring against me. I don't know. Okay, perfect. You said a reminder. Yeah, just join me next weekend at like 11:40, 11:45, 11:50. I'll be on here again. I have stuff later on in the afternoon. Like I said, most of my meetings I do like later on Sundays, or if I do open houses or something's handled later in the afternoon because I like saving this time. It seems like not the most amount of people join, but like I feel like 10 people asking questions within the live stream is like really good for me. So I think my goal is by the end of this year to try to have like 50 people. Like that would be huge, but we're already into November, so that might be too big of an ask, but at least 10 people. Like I think at the most we maxed out at like 10 or 11. Oh no, I think there was 13 at one time. Either way, I know that people come back and watch these live streams later because they still get pretty good views, but join me next week on the 12th, 11:45, 11:50. If you got to get your beauty rest, come in at 12 o'clock. I'll see you guys later. Hopefully this was a big help today. Shout out to everyone that left a comment. Shout out to Miss Ponderlit for tipping your boy $50. That is unasked for, but that is my first tip. I cannot believe that. So shout out to you. That just made my day. Okay. Peace out, guys. I never know how to end these.